Good evening and welcome to the CF Farmers Branch Planning and Zoning Commission study session. It is presently 6 p.m. and we'll get started firstly by thanking the commissioners for their service. On our study session, agenda item A1, discuss regular agenda items. And that takes us over to item C1. This evening, we'll consider approval of the June 24th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission minutes and take appropriate action. Commissioners, any typos, errors?
Good.
I don't have any.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. So that will take us then back to item A2, an introduction of newly appointed members of the Planning and Zoning Commissioner. And as we do that, I wanted to just formally welcome our new members. And I understand we have one individual who couldn't be here this evening, but thank you again for your service, as I said before, and we would be delighted to hear a little about you. No particular order.
So we already shared some of that. Do we do it again?
Yeah, if you don't mind, just,
Okay.
for the,
Yeah, sure. Are we on camera?
yeah.
Oh, terrific. All right. I'm James Dan Hurd. I go by Dan. I've lived in the city since 1998, but I've been coming to the city since 1984. I have extensive family that lives here. I've got 3 children and 4 grandchildren that live here, as well as many of my wife's relatives. And just concerned about how to help out and serve in a very critical area, planning and zoning. So expect to learn a lot over the next year, and looking forward to it.
Great, thank you.
Just curious, so which part of Farmers Branch do you reside in?
So it's called District 3, and it's also, you wouldn't know what Farmington Estates is, but that's where our lot is. I live on the creek, the south side of the Farmers Branch Creek, very close to Reedcroft Drive. We're right at Bay Meadows Circle where it crosses Reedcroft. Thank you.
Right.
Colin Kirby, been in Farmers Branch for about 4 years. Let's see, 1 wife, 2 dogs, 1 16-month-old son. And I live just by Chapel Hill Elementary School. So just excited to help out in any way I can and serve the city.
Great, thank you.
Excellent.
Hey, I'm Brianna Banks, and I am married, and I have 2 children, and I'm excited to be a part of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Great, thank you.
What part of Farmers Branch do you live?
We stay right off of Josie and Dennis in that area.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah, just right down the street.
Right in the middle.
Great. And for the benefit of our new members, if existing members wouldn't mind, at least make sure you introduce your name and maybe in keeping with your question, maybe what side of town you live on and how long you've served in this capacity. I'll start. So Amber Rayleigh, I serve as chair, and I think I've been on the commission now about maybe just 3 years, 2-3 years. I have my partner. We have a teenager who'll be starting at Dallas College in the fall, and I live off of Pebble Beach in District 5.
And you are a planning professional. You teach planning. I mean, it's kind of,
Yeah, so I am working on my PhD in urban planning and public policy, also with a certificate in transportation planning and policy. So I do find this to be a passion. So, yeah, thank you. We'll just maybe proceed around.
sure. Marcus Miller. I've been in Farmers Branch almost 10 years exactly. I live right here in Mustang Crossing, the patio homes right next to the station to Dart. So whenever anybody talks about Dart, I'm all ears. I happen to love Dart, but I also know that it has a lot of problems. So if you want to talk Dart anytime, let's do it offline. Yeah, that's me.
Alden Soltzbaugh. I grew up in Farmers Branch. I live in Brookhaven, this neighborhood. Got involved when I moved back to Farmers Branch a couple of years ago. I've been on P&Z for 1 year. Got interested in it because I work in construction and development insurance. So thought it'd be fun to participate and give back to the city.
Harold Freilich. I've lived here in Farmers Branch since 1987. Served here, active in the city several times. I've been on the city council. I wanted to get re-involved with the city. I thought planning and zoning would be a good place to share stories with people that came on board. Have a lot of history here, I think, with city government. And I'm mainly, I want to encourage a lot of new people that come into the city to participate in boards and become a member and be active with the city. So that's why I'm here.
Hi, I beg your pardon. I'm Pat Trapp. Been in Farmers Branch for 4 years, but I lived just across the city line in North Dallas for 25 years before that. I live over in Mercer Crossing at the far west side. And I've been on this board for a year, and I'm retired. Our daughter and her family live here in North Dallas. And I joined this commission just to looked at the boards and wanted to do something for the city, and I looked at all the boards and what they do, and I thought, that one looks the most interesting. They're most involved with what's going on in the city. You get to see what's going on and occasionally have a voice. So it's been fun.
Great. Thank you all. And I understand the additional alternate that will be joining us will be Scott Norris. So thank you all again. Appreciate that. We will proceed to item A3 on the agenda. Receive a mid-year update on the Planning and Zoning Commission's fiscal year 2023-2024 work program. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Chair Rayleigh. This is meant to be sort of a recap refresher for our existing members, and then an introduction into some of our recent projects for our new members. So each year, the City Council adopts a strategic plan that outlines some critical business outcomes and strategic objectives for the city. And so we create a work plan or work program for the Planning and Zoning Commission to align with some of these objectives. So currently, we are in fiscal year 2023, 2024, and I've listed just a couple of our accomplishments so far this year. Our comprehensive plan was adopted just before the start of the fiscal year in August 2023, but this year we've moved into a focus on implementation. So we've had a couple discussions with City Council about the comprehensive plan and the projects that are recommended, and we're starting to see momentum on some of those projects. And the comprehensive plan is a long-range 20-year vision, and so that is going to be a continual update and engagement process over the next 20 years and beyond. So we're excited to have that adopted and get started on some of those projects. And then obviously a bulk of what we look at on our Planning and Zoning Commission agendas are zoning cases and specific use permits and site plans. And so these are just the numbers from what's been considered this year. And I think our next agenda item will really list out some of those cases. But it's been a busy year, and we've seen a lot of zoning requests and city-initiated text amendments as well. And then a goal of the commission and also of staff in general is always to streamline our development processes, make things more accessible and user-friendly for developers and residents to access information. And so these are just a couple of the ways in which we've done that in the last fiscal year. Planning recently took over the platting process from start to finish, so there have been some improvements made with that application and that process. And then same thing for mobile food units. That's one of our new ordinance amendments that was adopted this year. And so we created an application and an online process, and we've actually already seen some applications come in for that. So that's exciting. And then this is just one example, but in our recent cases that we've brought forward, we try to, whenever possible, combine our detailed site plans into the zoning process, so that reduces two public hearing council processes into one and saves time for everybody involved. So we are always looking for ways to continue to streamline and increase efficiency. And then the pictures that you're seeing on the right are from our bus tour that was held in October of 2023. We were able to tour the Dallas Design District and Bishop Arts District and get to hear some stories of how redevelopment and revitalization happen in those areas. And we're able to take some things away that we're excited to try to implement in Farmers Branch. So some pictures on the right from that tour. And then these are just a couple of the larger text amendments that have been approved. The last time we looked at our work program, these were proposed, and now we can say that they're approved and finalized. And so that's mobile food units, home occupations, site plan expirations, and then garage conversions most recently. And so if any of our new members have questions about those, I'd be happy to talk with you, or we can discuss them here. And then a couple of our text amendments that were on the list earlier this year that are still in process are our use chart and definitions, which is a kind of a large undertaking, but we have a zoning ordinance that was adopted originally in 1969. And some of the definitions and uses that are in there are just a little outdated and need to be sort of updated to meet current business standards and definitions. So that's something that staff is working on, and we've got a draft going. It'll take some legal review before it makes it to P&Z, but that is on the horizon, as well as landscaping and tree preservation. Landscaping's been in progress for a while, as we all know, but the next step is to come back to City Council with a study session meeting, and we're hoping that will happen in the next few months. And then beyond the comp plan, we also have our I-35 corridor study, which is a smaller area plan that was completed in 2021. And the plan makes several recommendations, but it actually identifies a couple areas that are appropriate for rezoning. And one of those is Target Area 1, which was the expansion of PD 86 west of I-35. And that was completed last year. And then there are 3 other target areas that are identified by the plan for rezoning. So right now, staff is working on Target Area 2. And we have a draft of that kind of getting to its final stages. So that will probably be before you by the end of the year for discussion. And then Target Area 4 and 3 would likely follow in future fiscal years. And then this is some recommendations of the comprehensive plan. These are 2 of many, and not necessarily the next things that we'll be focused on, but these are topics of discussion and priorities identified by the comp plan. And so we'll continue to bring that back for your consideration. We'll see if these priorities are still current or if you'd like to focus on other projects, and the same with City Council. And then just looking ahead, our next fiscal year will start in October. And so we'll have a new budget, a new strategic plan, and it will be time to put together a new work program. And so y'all can look for another update from staff sometime after October in the months following. But at this point, if there are any priorities or future items that you'd like to start discussion on, or have staff sort of line up for that work program, please let us know. We can talk about them tonight, or if something comes up that you think of, feel free to email us or just reach out and let us know. These are a couple of the items that are on staff's list for the next year, and I won't go through each one in detail, but there's lots to look forward to and lots going on. And so
But what is the Soul Smart Gold designation?
Sure. That is an initiative that several cities and DFW are looking at right now. Lily is actually kind of our expert on that, if you'd want to give a quick overview.
So the Soul Smart designation, there are several letters. It's simply a commitment based on not only planning and zoning, but also permitting and community services with, like Sarah said, with multiple cities in the Metroplex and within the state actually. And we're searching for the gold designation, and planning and zoning will be a large point of
I'm not sure, what does it do? What is it?
Sure.
What is Soul Smart?
It's a solar energy initiative, some
To
standards
increase
in
the
our-
amount of solar,
to reduce restrictions for solar panels to be installed, usually in residential properties, but there are some other standards that they have. It's something that we want to bring to a study session, and actually our sustainability department is sort of spearheading that effort. So they may come in and present as well, but it's something for y'all to consider if it's something we want to look into. It would require some amendments to our CZO, is my understanding. And like Lily said, permitting and sustainability have parts of it as well, but you get points for certain actions. And so that's a future agenda item. We will bring all of the detail y'all would need to consider that before taking any action, but it's something that staff has identified as a benefit. So does that answer your question? And then finally, with honestly all of the change on our staff team and with so many new commissioners in the room, training opportunities are going to continue to be a big priority for P&Z and for staff. And so there's a couple that we've talked about already, and I've listed them here. One is this Friday, and I know we've got a couple commissioners signed up to go. The staff team will be attending. But this is by no means the only opportunity for training. There will be, anytime we find out about one throughout the year, we'll be sending it out for y'all to consider. Something to put on your calendars if possible is going to be the state conference for APA that is held each year. And this year it's in DFW in Allen, Texas. So that'll be October 16th through the 18th. And it is a multi-day event during the week. And so we wouldn't expect y'all to take a week off at work and attend the conference. But if there are time blocks, you can register for a one-day pass, or they usually have a short course for elected officials. And so if it's something that you're interested in, we'd love for as many commissioners as possible to attend. Staff will be there. We've submitted for some planning awards, and we're hopeful to receive some of those. And then the Greater Dallas Planning Council is another great local resource that hosts trainings, and actually Chair Rayleigh made me aware of a couple that are coming up. I don't know if you'd like to expand on any of those.
Sure. And just a little background, this Greater Dallas Planning Council has been around in North Texas for almost 80 years. So definitely are a wealth of information. I'm just pulling up their events. The two that I think I highlighted coming up that I think may be most relevant to Farmers Branch and some of the issues. One is a special event they have on development and economic development with sports. And that is certainly an emphasis for us. And that one is on Friday, August 9th. That's a morning session, 7:30 a.m. to 11. And then at the GDPC annual meeting, that will be Friday, August 16th. That's a more of a full day, 7:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. So not quite the full day, but into the afternoon. That meeting is one where you'll hear a number of different things, but one of the focal areas of that is on different housing types, especially relevant to North Texas. And again, as you mentioned, that's a highlight from our comprehensive plan. So just some opportunities, and they have a number of different task forces that do a number of different things, environmental and natural resources like your stormwater that you're mentioning before, urban design, there's a transportation group, et cetera. So lots of different opportunities, even to potentially join a task force and be involved should you desire. It's an open organization. So, yeah.
Awesome. And of course, if there are any training opportunities that y'all come across and think would be beneficial for staff or for the commission, we're always open to that. And we'd love to
GDPC.
share them with P&Z and with council. So with that, I will take any questions, or we can go back to the future agenda item discussion. Anything y'all have questions on at this point?
Will we get an update on the garage amnesty program?
Yep, that took effect July 16th. And so Community Services is getting the application up and running. And then we'll probably see periodic updates to City Council, and we can share them with Planning and Zoning as well in terms of how that program is progressing. But the council did adopt the ordinance with the changes recommended by P&Z.
I'm sorry, what subdivision ordinance updates are we talking about here?
So when the planning department took over the plating process, plating guidelines and really rules for subdivision in general in our city are found in the subdivision ordinance. We found that the version that we have on file right now is in need of update. The original one was adopted, I believe, in the 80s originally. Does that sound right? I could get the exact date. And then it's been amended a couple of times since then, but there are some areas that we identified that are outdated and could be updated. So that's a larger staff project. We want to keep P and Z updated. The actual text of the ordinance doesn't fall within P and Z purview, so it's not like a CZO amendment where we would take it for a public hearing and then to city council. That would go straight to city council. But it does affect all of the plats that we bring forward and some other development standards in the city, so we want y'all to be aware of what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
1983. Thank you.
I know that our sustainability group also had in process the active transportation plan, and they came and spoke before, and we did have a public meeting. But I was curious if that would be another one that may come around as we, especially try to integrate that, understanding the implementation of comprehensive plan and especially the I-35 corridor vision study as well.
Absolutely. We can definitely get an update. The last, I know there was that public meeting like you mentioned, and I think the consultant team is working on a draft of the update, so that will probably be available for feedback in the coming months, but I'll get an update for you. Any other questions at this point? It's a lot to sort of digest for new members especially, so. All right. Thank you.
Thank you again. So that will take us then to item A4, receive a report regarding recent zoning and development cases acted upon by City Council.
So included in your packet is this summary, and it is really just a list of all of the cases that have come before the Planning and Zoning Commission this year, and then the associated action that City Council took on those cases. And we try to do these updates quarterly. One change we made with this month's table is that some of these cases were included in the last update. We thought it would be helpful to just add on each time so that you have a year at a glance. And then if anything changes in terms of the project status or if there are any updates to share, we can include those as well. So some of these you've seen before, but I'd say from about here down, these are all recent cases. And then there are two here that y'all saw at your June 24th meeting that will go to council in August.
So back up near the top, one of the rare times where P and Z recommended approval, City Council denied the townhomes.
Right.
Is that dead, or is there anything behind the scenes still happening with that?
That case is dead. That request
That
and that
request, but is there
configuration,
still-
it does not
Are
stop.
people still working on something for that area, or I mean, is that,
Are we talking about the second item?
yes, ma'am?
Yeah, so council had a executive session, closed session, so we're working on it.
Okay,
Let's just go, we're working.
okay.
Nothing formal has been submitted for that site, but
If I may, one of the things I noticed that happened during that process, the neighbors, the neighborhood, this was like a flash. Oh my God, what's going on here? Somebody mentioned at some point, is there a process when the permit is requested where the city can say, especially in Farmers Branch, we don't have any new subdivision land. Everything we have is a redo. Have you talked to the neighbors?
We encourage the developers to do that. That doesn't mean that, they'll go within the surrounding area. That doesn't mean individuals outside that surrounding area.
I know it's 300 feet, but, and it's state law, but, I mean, if you were here, you saw what happened.
And we've encouraged him as well, prior for him to coming back to kind of address some of the issues that were brought up.
I mean, it would save the staff a lot of time and trouble.
It goes back to Herald developers. We can tell them all we can. We can try to help and assist, but it's up to them as far as what steps are gonna take to mitigate.
That was the case where, when we came before us, it was crickets. Nobody from the neighborhood came.
Well, there were a
to-
few
There were a
people.
few people that.
There were a few people,
But when it went to city council, they were deluged.
yeah.
It
So
didn't help that it was after the one on the west side that had issues.
It didn't help with the park as well. I think it was a lot
Park,
of mitigating
yeah.
Yeah.
factors. And again, we can
we told the developers prior as well, but it's up to what the developers do. But no, I agree. We definitely let them know it's required, the certain amount of feet, that you can always go with others. But yeah, at this time, they haven't resubmitted, but we'll definitely keep you guys posted.
Any other questions on the,
I guess since we're maybe just talking process a little bit, I don't think we tabled anything. But things come in, like we get a packet on Thursday and then we meet on Monday. So card room was another one. Just they come in and there's like little to no data, very fast. Sometimes I wonder if we need to table things more often if they come that fast and people, because typically the people we hear from the most early are the ones that are opposed, and then it sort of works its way through. So it's that gap, that short period of time between the Thursday and Monday sometimes that's challenging.
absolutely. And there's certainly always that option, any development case that the commission considers. One of the motions is always going to be to table or request more information. So if ever you feel like that's needed, that's always an option available.
So there was another one I see that where the planning and zoning recommended approval and it was denied.
Let's see, this one right here.
I don't know if this is the time to ask about that. I was just curious about that one.
I believe that's this one that you're referring to, 1960 LBJ.
1960 LBJ.
And that was for the property that's known as the Mercer Boardwalk Development, south of 635, east of Luna. And that's correct. The P&Z did consider that and recommend approval, but City Council, it was a split vote. It wasn't unanimous, but they did deny
Is that the
it.
sign?
Yeah, it's the
Mhm.
sign.
The sign, the pickleball development, and the event center.
So it wasn't building high-rise apartments next to residential. That was something else.
That was something else,
Okay.
yeah.
No, it was a sign along the highway.
Huh, okay.
This is the apartments next to residential, the case on Luna, I think that you're referring to. And that was another one where I believe P&Z recommended denial, but City Council did approve. So, any other questions?
Yeah, that top one was the one that it was a hotel and they wanted to switch it
Right.
to the
The
high-rise
objections
apartments.
were to a part of the land that was already approved by right.
It was a two-phase multifamily development. Phase one was approved, and this was a phase two. But phase one was directly adjacent to single family. And if there are any ways that we could improve this information, provide y'all more detail, or make it more
This
efficient,
is
just let
good.
us know. Okay, great.
I talked to Marcus about that process, and he said that planning and zoning had like a work chart. And it's, things are in various stages of work. And I told Marcus, I said, why don't we get a copy of that? That way, we would at least know what might be coming down the pipeline.
Right,
And he said, yeah, that may be a good idea, and then he left.
try to, yeah. So now we deal with it. No, there is actually a section on our website now because of that concern, and I'm gonna see if I can navigate to it.
Oh, so he did do it?
Be informed. So
Okay,
this is
well,
a
that's
list
cool.
of future council items and then some of our cases that are in review right now. We hesitate, council will sometimes have a meeting date where it's anticipated. P&Z cases, it's a little difficult to do that because sometimes, I think Marcos mentioned this, sometimes we're waiting months on developers to
Right.
resubmit, and so we
Well-
can't guarantee a meeting date.
Part of the process was if the citizens think about it and they want to go look on the website, they may be able to find it.
Right,
So,
Yeah,
so
we
it's not
wanna-
like we're trying to hide it from anybody. We just got to
exactly,
look for it.
exactly. We want the information to be accessible.
Great. Any other questions? All right, thanks again, Sarah. With that, that'll take us to item A5, where we will discuss agenda items for future Planning and Zoning Commission consideration. Any items?
I do have just, and I don't know if it's an agenda item or not, but Chair Rayleigh, you mentioned one of the training was on the sports planning or something. With the Star Center and the new multi-use, that's a lot of sports happening there. Is there any, sometimes that leads to momentum where other sporting teams or the, relocators, is there anything around a bigger concept of sports in the station area? Has that ever been discussed? Or is that just sort of the Star Center is it, and it's,
That's a great question.
I think we do have an official designation that is our arts and culture area. We did pass that, and there is some discussion, it depends on who you ask, but sports fitting under that larger arts and culture umbrella. So it is in some ways already a designated district in that way. But I think our economic development can speak more to any strategy, although I understand you may have confidentiality or different things, but we do at least have that on the city books.
We definitely do have stuff in the works for that. I'm
interesting?
not going to bring a professional team, but I do want to stress that the Stars is more of like a club sport type of thing. So there's some events, and we do have some economic development has some ideas for that district. So
Okay.
more to come. I don't sleep.
Great. Any other items for consideration? All right. Well, with that, we will conclude our study session. It is presently 6:31. We will reconvene at 7 here in the study session chambers for our citizen comments and our regular agenda items. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the City of Farmers Branch Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. It is presently 7:01 p.m. I'd like to begin again by thanking the commissioners for their service. First up on our items this evening is citizen comments. This agenda item provides an opportunity for citizens to address the Planning and Zoning Commission on any matter that is not posted on the agenda. Anyone wishing to address the commission should complete a citizen's comments registration form and submit it to the chair prior to the start of the meeting. There is a 3-minute time limit for each citizen to speak with a reasonable limitation on speakers on one topic or item with a maximum of 15 total minutes on the same topic item. Anyone wishing to speak shall be courteous and cordial. The Planning and Zoning Commission is not permitted to take action on any subject raised by a speaker during citizen comments. However, the Planning and Zoning Commission may have the item placed on a future agenda for action, refer the item to the Director of Planning for further study or action, briefly state existing city policy, or provide a brief statement of factual information in response to the inquiry. This evening, we have no one signed up for citizen comments, so we'll proceed to item C1, our regular agenda items. We'll consider approval of the June 24th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes and take appropriate action. Commissioners?
I move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion on the topic item? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor to approve the minutes as presented? All right. Any abstentions? Thank you. And with that, we will adjourn at 7:02 p.m. Thank you all again.